I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Tuesday, February the 1st, brought to you in part by Beaver County Stockyards, having their regular Tuesday sale here today, expecting close to 3,000 head of cattle there. Talked to Jeff Slatton on Tuesday evening, and he had about 25 or 600 head there in the pens, and we're looking for a few more to come in. Going to have a lot of light yearlings. They're still coming in off the non-existent wheat pasture that's out there. Said he's going to have a lot of lightweight heifers in the mix there, and then some big cattle too. But always a good sale there in Beaver, Oklahoma, Beaver County Stockyards. But get a hold of Jeff Slatton or Tuffy. They call him, don't give him no shit and there won't be none. No, he's a great guy to visit with and talk to, and you'll be glad that you called him if you visit with him. His wife Jerry is in the office there, and they do a really good job with that barn, and you'll be glad that you chose Beaver County Stockyards in Beaver, Oklahoma. Houston Solutions, you think? We're going to start the NCBA convention here on Tuesday, and I'm actually on my way down there to go to the trade show, not the meetings, my gosh, but I got to meet with some clients down there and close some deals with some advertisers here with DV Auction and the Feeder Flash and National Beef Wire and things like that. But they've got several of these solutions out there because they are resisting the Cattle Price Discovery and Transparency Act so hard that they want to have some things up there to try to visit about, or at least debate about. And they've even got them wrote up where they look like that they're bills before Congress, but they're not. I mean, they've got them written all legal-like, and it says whereas and notwithstanding and things like that makes them look like they're really official. But they're just some different ideas that some of the different affiliates have come up with, and they've got a lot of things in there, and they all say kind of the same thing. They say things like they're going to evaluate the effectiveness, or they're going to incentivize research. They're going to gerrymander the 5 area feeding regions so that they encompass some areas in Wyoming, Illinois, and South Dakota that have more trade, trying to make you guys believe that there's more negotiated trade when the negotiated trade is just dwindling down to absolutely nothing. And their packer partners there won't even, try to embolden it a little bit when we're getting right here at crunch time, when we're about to put that Cattle Price Discovery and Transparency Act up for a vote. They won't even increase the amount of negotiated sales right in the face of that to help these guys out that are arguing for that. But it's the main thing that you notice in all of these Houston solutions is that they never talk anything about the mandate, except for the proposal that California Cattlemen's put in, saying that they are opposing mandates and they want to outlaw any mandates that try to encourage any kind of a negotiated trade or anything like that. But it's all voluntary stuff. We've been through this, guys. We just got done going through the 75% of a robust market deal, and it didn't work. You guys said all these, I say you guys, I'm saying the NCBA guys, they put all these complicated triggers in there, and then multiple triggers. Then you'd have to hit 3 triggers to make one, and they did all this stuff to try to keep it from ever working, because you said in there whenever you proposed that they were going to try this voluntary fix, that you set all these triggers in there thinking that they would never get hit to get anywhere far lacking from a robust market, and we tripped all of them. There's no negotiated trade to speak of, not nearly enough to have price discovery, and not nearly enough by a long shot to have robust trade. So, why do you continue to do that? Because the packers don't want it. And your big corporate feeders that are in bed with them and have the sweetheart deals and the sweetest of the sweetheart deals, which we know the only real premium out there is head counts and numbers. Whoever's got the most cattle, we really don't care what kind of cattle they are. You're going to get the best deal because it helps us reach our goal of having all of our needs met. and that's the main thing that they're going for. And that's one reason that it frustrates, the cattle feeders in Iowa and Nebraska that have the best quality cattle, and they sell more negotiated cash cattle than anybody by a long, long shot. But you guys continue to say, well, you got to have these alternative marketing agreements before you can really get get paid for those cattle. No, they can pay for the cattle anytime they want to. They can just pay for them. There's not a rule against paying more for high quality. You can just absolutely do it. The problem of it is the packers don't even go to the trouble of going out and looking at the cattle, and if they did, they don't have anybody that works for them that could tell what the cattle are supposed to look like that have the best carcasses. And so they don't want any of the variables to be on them. They want it to all be on the cattle feeder. They want to skin those cattle, cut them in half and grade them, and know exactly what's there before they pay for anything. Unlike the way it always has been. But these new solutions are saying things like they support research into new and innovating price determining mechanisms. Really? How about let's just have some straight up negotiated, haggled on trade to get some price discovery. All of these AMAs and all of these formula deals have been abusing the cash market that none of the individuals that benefit from those help establish. And they've been doing it for years and years and years, and it's finally it's about like the Canadian truckers deal. They've had enough. The guys that are selling cash cattle have had enough. And then there's some of the hard-headedest, most stubborn guys out there, but they're tired of being abused by these formula deals, and it's time to set some minimum requirements. If these packers are going to run a monopoly, which we know that they are, if the government's going to allow you to completely control your beef prices and the processing of it and have a complete monopoly, you're going to have to come in here and do some at least minimum, and they're set very conservatively, minimum requirements of negotiated cash trade so that we can establish a price, so we can have some price discovery. What does the minimum requirement do? It allows those cash sellers to turn a bid down. This past week, our weighted average on dressed steers, the weighted average on all of them that sold negotiated was $218 flat. I mean, exactly $218. So every single dressed steer that sold negotiated cash in your 5-area feeding region was at $218. How much negotiations there? Is there any price discovery there? No. So if they had minimum requirements, mandates, if you want to say that. Oh, it's a dirty word, mandates. Woo, bad. Okay, if you're going to mandate that they buy a minimum amount of or percentage of their cattle cash, it allows the few cash sellers that there are to turn a bid down. They can turn that first bid down, and they can come back and say, they know that they'll be back because they have to meet that minimum requirement. That's what we're looking for. We don't know that the market's going to be any better. We just want some price discovery out of this deal. And I tell you what, here's the opportunity for NCBA to get some people back with them, to quit resisting everything. Here they can. They know that they've got policy now that they've got to pursue some kind of a regulatory or legislative fix to encourage packers to participate in negotiated cash trade. Here's your bill right here. Cattle Price Discovery and Transparency Act 2021. It's got bipartisan support and sponsors. It's ready to go. And all you got to do is get behind it. And I know you NCBA guys have been resisting it, but you ran out of time. Here it is. All you got to do, and you don't have to be excited about it. Just endorse the bill. We'll push it through. We'll even let you guys take credit for it, which that's what it's all about when it comes to trade associations anyway, isn't it? Who gets the credit for what happened? We'll let U.S. Cattlemen's Association do all the work, and all of those sponsors and authors of this bill, the senators, we'll let them do all the work, and you guys can take credit for it. How about that? Sound like a deal? Go ahead and do it. Now, they won't do it. They absolutely won't do it, and I don't think it's going to matter. These senators that have signed on to this bill and are sponsoring it and pushing it, they are going to pass this bill regardless. The president has already endorsed it. The Secretary of Agriculture has endorsed it. You've got numerous other smaller and state affiliates, even of NCBA, that have pushed this and endorsed it. But you're going to continue to oppose it. I tell you what, Brad Koima from Iowa Cattlemen's Association, and very active in the NCBA too, he has pinned a little article or a kind of an explanation of what's going on here. It is going all around. I hope it gets published in lots of places. It's very well spread on the Hill in Washington, D.C., and it spells it out exactly what's going on here and exactly how the Southern Plains has taken advantage and tried to bulldoze the Northern Plains that have higher quality cattle, the kind of cattle that the packers say that they want, and they're not wanting to force these packers to participate in negotiated trade because they don't want to bristle up their partner packers there, and they like things the way that they are. They're forcing all of the small independent cattle feeders out of the business, and that's exactly what they want to do. But they only have to answer to a board. They buy plain cattle, hedge them to their nostrils, and just feed for the basis, and that's all they care about is the difference between the cash price and the futures whenever those cattle are ready. And then they don't have to worry about when those cattle are done. They just schedule them in. They don't have to negotiate or haggle on a price. It's a pitiful way that we've seen this industry go. It's exactly the way that the hogs and the chickens have gone. And when's the last time you went to a good feeder pig sale? Okay? That's what could happen to your feeder cattle auctions, guys. But let's look at your board. And why was the board up so big? Well, they were getting ready for this big cattle inventory report. And the board closed before the cattle inventory report come out at 3 o'clock Eastern there. So, but it was up big because, we've gotten a lot of this baggage behind us, and a week ago Friday's supposedly bearish cattle on feed report and all these things. Plus we got a big snowstorm coming through. The cattle market loves a snowstorm as far as the market is. They think we're going to lose weight, and in which we are, and it's going to be hard to get those cattle to market or get them to the packer and things like that, which it could be. But you initially, your cattle market always loves a blizzard to come through. But also they were getting ready for this inventory report. The inventory report ended up being very bullish. If somebody tells you it was neutral just because the round percentages, I mean, you're talking about a whole year's worth of cattle in a percentage point, and then they don't even round them to the 10th when they put out the report. If you get in there and really look at these numbers, it was very, very bullish. All cattle and calves, the expectations was 98.8. The actuals come in at 97.9. Very bullish. Your calf crop, your expectations were at 99.1. The actuals come in at 98.8. All the numbers were on the bullish side. Your beef cows, number of beef cows, your expectations were at 98.6. Your actual was at 97.6. Missed it a whole percentage point on big numbers, guys. The amount of replacement heifers, and we know that's right. Beef replacement heifers, the expectation was 98.2, which they were expecting it to be down quite a bit. The actual come in at 96.6. We know that has to be right, and because we've put so many of them on feed and we've harvested so many heifers. Your steer calves weighing over 500 pounds. Now that came in the same, 98.7 compared to 98.7, but that explains why we have so many cattle on feed right now. There's no place for them to be outside the feedlot because it's so dry in the plains. Lightweight calves under 500 pounds, they expected that number to be 98.9% of a year ago. It come in at 97.4% of a year ago. Very, very bullish. I expect the board to be up big in response to this data here on Tuesday, and I think it could springboard us in to some of these prices that we think we ought to be getting. And do I think this report is actually right? I think we're lighter than what this report is. I always have believed that this cattle inventory report is about a year to 2 years old when we finally get it. But it takes a lot of time and energy to put those numbers together. But does this take into account all of those sales in South Dakota and eastern Montana and North Dakota selling 1,000 slaughter cows instead of 300 or 400 like they normally sold every week all fall, late summer and early winter? No, it doesn't take all that into account. We are extremely, extremely light on numbers, and we need to be getting to thinking, guys, we're in a bullish market here, and you know we're in a seller's market. And the few guys that are still selling negotiated cash sales on fat cattle need to get that through their head and start asking more money for cattle. If we had that minimum negotiated mandate, they would do that with confidence. But instead, they turn that they go ahead and accept that first bid because they know if they turn it down, they're going to get penalized and they won't get a call for 2 or 3 weeks. But let's look at your board on Monday to open the week much higher. February live cattle futures up 87 cents at 139.57. April was up $1.42 at 144.52. Your back months on live cattle are up $1.07 to up 132. Big up day. March feeder cattle up $3.40, 163.02. April up $3.15 at 168.45. Your back months were up $1.75 to $2.97. So huge gains on your feeder cattle, which they were oversold. I mean, they've been beating those up for the last 2 or 3 weeks. Your grains were very, very mixed. Corn was down 10 cents a bushel, closing at $6.26, but beans up 20 and a half at $14.90 and a half cent a bushel. Kansas City wheat down 21. It's up 21 day, down 20 the next, but down 20. I guess they think some of this snow that's coming across the Midwest there and across Kansas is going to have some moisture in it for Pete's sakes. But Kansas City hard red winter wheat down 21 cents at $7.81 a quarter on your March contract. Your weighted average on last week's negotiated fat cattle trade direct basis out of your 5-area feeding region, 65,800 head. It's a few more than than the previous week of 59,500, but quite a bit less than the same week a year ago, which is 76,500 head. Live sales of steers and heifers range from 135 to 139, mostly 137. And your weighted average on live steers was 136.95, down 55 cents from your previous week. But Southern Plains were selling cattle to bulk at 137, but by the end of the week on the few cleanup sales that we had, they could only get 136. They're going to get more this week, guys. Dress sales, like I told you earlier, range from 217 to 218.50, but your weighted average on all of them, dress steers, was 218 even. A lot of negotiation going on there on a dress basis. That was up 8 cents a hundred compared to the previous week. Nationwide, 79,800 head of negotiated sales compared to 35,500 negotiated grids. And here's our problem. Formula sales last week, 278,000. All on the coattails of that little dab of negotiated trade that we have. You know, it's ridiculous. You know, and of the negotiated sales we had nationwide, about 21%, which is a little lighter than normal, were for the 15 to 30 day delivery. Box beef cutout values were pretty much unchanged from the end of last week. Your slaughter was 120,000 cattle harvest for Monday. That's estimated, but that's what they come up with. That is exactly normal. This Omicron deal has passed us over. Everybody's back to work. Had a normal slaughter. We're going to get things picked back up. They're going to dial up that big dial on the outside of those packing plants, turn those chains up, and start harvesting more cattle. Means they're going to need more of them. They need to fill their coffers with product, and things ought to be getting back. I mean, really a good Monday here, guys, if you haven't noticed what I'm trying to get through to you. But let's talk about your feeder cattle market, your real-time index, sponsored by Margin Tracks by Midcon. Real-time index late in the day on Monday set at 158.27, which was up 55 cents compared to the end of last week. So we sold our Monday sales were a little bit better there. Don't forget, at Lone Star Stockyards in Wildorado, Texas, my friend Bill Martin out there that's managing that new nice facility. I mean, but it's a new startup sale. I mean, trying to get those new sales up and going is like trying to get the spruce goose off the ground there. But he's getting her done, so we're going to be trying something new here on Tuesday at Lone Star Stockyards. I got an in-house video. It'll be the first time they tried that. They got 2 loads on there. The Frenchy cattle from up by Sunray, or northern quality type cattle there, based at 825 pounds. Those 2 loads are going to sell on the video, and you can watch it on dvauction.com. You need to call into Lone Star Stockyards and tell them you want to be approved to bid. They're going to auction those off at 1 o'clock, or near about 1 o'clock p.m. So be sure and get on and check those cattle out. How about your sales on Monday? OKC, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma National Stockyards, 11,500 head. Feeder steers run evenly steady. Feeder heifers steady to 3 higher. That tells me that they want the cattle. They was a little bit worried about the price because we didn't have this information from Cattle Inventory Report yet. I think they'll come after them here as we go through the rest of this week. Steer calves unevenly steady. I'm not real sure I don't know why they use that unevenly steady all the time. Was it steady or not? Heifer calves $2 to $4 higher. Joplin Regional Stockyards, 9,000 head there. Market was straight up steady there. All classes of steers and heifers, and that's a pretty good go. How about Russell Livestock in Russell, Iowa? They had 3,000 on offer there. Check the automated market report from Cattle Market Central. It was sharply higher. Look at the changes here from last week's sale. It had a similar offering. It was sharply higher, especially on calves. They sold those a little bit later in the day. Farmer feeders there that they realize what's going on, that these cattle are getting higher, and they wanted to get in on some of them. Had some really nice cattle there. I mean, selling from $4 to $15 higher. Those extreme tops were on the lighter weight calves, but one individual quote from Russell there that I thought was pretty good was 73 head, 742 pound steers, bring 167 and a quarter. Best sale that I saw anywhere on Monday was Aberdeen Livestock Sales in Aberdeen, South Dakota. They sold 72 head of 696 pounds, 696 pound steers at $193. But they had the best quote that I saw on Monday as your National Beef Wire top quote for the day out of Aberdeen Livestock Sales in Aberdeen, South Dakota. You say you can't get $1.60 for 8-weight steers anymore. Aberdeen Livestock says hold my beer. 65 head, 846 pound feeder steers, bring 164 and a quarter. And that's your feeder flash for Tuesday.